Hello, Reddit. This situation that I'm in right now involves my 20-year-old adoptive daughter, let's call her Jackie. My wife, 44F, and I, 45M, adopted Jackie at birth after struggling with fertility issues for almost a year and a half. It was a closed adoption, which meant that we did not have any contact with her biological parents after her birth, and we had no idea where they were or what they had been up to for the past several years. After she turned 6, we told her that she was adopted since we wanted to be honest with her and build that trust. Besides, she also looks quite different from us, and I'm sure that as she grew older, she would have questions about it, or worse, she might even get bullied for it, and it would be better for her to be prepared with the real truth. Telling her the truth did not really change anything, but when she turned 17, she started talking about wanting to meet her biological parents. We were skeptical about it because at the time, we were having a very difficult time dealing with stuff. As we mentioned earlier, she looks quite different from us, but honestly, that's an understatement. She actually just doesn't look anything like us at all, since she has dark hair and my wife and I are both blonde. My wife has green eyes, I have blue eyes, and her eyes are dark brown, and we know about recessive genes and stuff, but high schoolers can be really mean when they want to be. Some kid from her high school started the rumor that she's probably an affair baby, and it was a silly, stupid rumor, but for some reason, it spread like wildfire and she started getting bullied at school. Most people were aware of the fact that she had been adopted, but they seemed to completely ignore that, just so they could make fun of her. She put up a strong front against that and ignored all the bullying for months until her boyfriend at the time broke up with her because people had started making fun of them together. Her boyfriend at the time had been Hispanic, and since Jackie had dark hair and eyes, people started saying they might have even been related, given my wife's so-called promiscuity, even though Jackie was very obviously Caucasian, like us. Getting dumped was the last straw for her because her entire year had turned against her and she had very few people in her corner. The rumors and bullying had gone out of control, and we wanted to intervene and speak to the staff at her school so they could do something about it, or maybe even change schools, but she refused to let us get involved in any way whatsoever, fearing that it would only make everything worse. For a couple of months, we let her deal with stuff on her own, but after her boyfriend dumped her, we decided that we had had enough, and we needed to stand up for our daughter, whether she liked it or not. We spoke to people at the school and talked about the kind of impact all the bullying was having on her mental health so that the principal of the school and the counselors would do something. However, I guess it made things worse for her because, after that, Jackie told us that while people had been bullying her earlier, now they had started acting like she was insane and would snap if they said anything to her at all, so they would just avoid her and make weird faces whenever she was around. She had become a social outcast and she started blaming us for it, even though we did not have the wrong intentions and only wanted the best for her. But we had underestimated how cruel high schoolers can be, and I guess I have to admit, we messed up there. She was really mad at us for several months, but then, things started getting better at school, and subsequently, her mood started improving at home as well, and we felt like she had started to forgive us. By the time her birthday came around, we started planning something really big so she would forgive us completely, and we could go back to having a normal relationship instead of the distant one that we had been forced into having because she was upset. On her 16th birthday, we threw a huge party for her, invited all her friends, and went all out for her. She was really happy because later on, it helped her live down the bullying that she had to face just a couple of months ago, since high schoolers are fickle as well. They don't really remember what they put people through and can become friends just as quickly they can become foes. We thought things were going well, but a couple of weeks after her birthday, she told us that she wanted another gift from us if we wanted her to forgive us completely. And that gift would be putting her in contact with her biological parents so she could stand a chance to get to know them. And why exactly has she been put up for adoption? Because these were the questions that she had been wondering about for many years, and now that she was finally old enough to ask, she wanted to know the answers. We were a bit skeptical about it because things had just started improving at home, between us and Jackie, and all of a sudden she wanted to be put in touch with her biological parents. My wife and I were scared that something might go wrong and she might not want to stay with us anymore after she found out about her biological parents, in case they were better than us somehow, since we were still reeling from the aftermath of getting involved in the school bullying fiasco. We were a little afraid of what would happen, in all honesty. But of course, we were not going to stop her from doing what she wanted, so we were very encouraging and put her in touch with the adoption agency so she could speak to them. After waiting for a couple of weeks, we heard back from them and were told that her biological parents were not ready to meet her yet, and so, she couldn't get to them that year. Jackie was quite disappointed, and she felt rejected, so we were there for her every step of the way, and in a couple of months, she forgot about it. All of us went back to our normal lives and tried not to think about that phase anymore until recently, when the adoption agency reached out to her and told her that her biological parents were finally ready to speak to her. This happened in the beginning of this year, almost 7 months ago, and it came as a huge shock to us. We had all honestly forgotten about it, but when Jackie heard from the adoption agency that her biological parents were ready to speak to her, she was quite happy seeing her happy. We were thrilled for her as well because her well-being meant more than anything to us. Naturally, my wife and I were still quite nervous about what would happen, but we had faith in her. We knew that she was our daughter and she would never hurt us. But we were wrong, because 2 months after meeting her biological parents for the first time, she decided to leave home so she could go stay with them. Jackie had decided not to go to college because she wanted to work and she didn't want to waste money on rent, so she had been staying with us ever since she had graduated high school. Initially, she had told us that she would just drop 1 year and then she would start applying to colleges, but now, it had been almost 2 years since she graduated high school, and yet, she had no plans of applying to colleges or even moving out, even though we are assuming that she had saved enough money. She had been working as a receptionist ever since she had graduated, and since she has never had to pay for rent or groceries or other utilities, we had figured that she had enough money, at least to move out and start living independently, and we had been trying to talk to her about these things for quite some time. So before she had been contacted by her biological parents, my wife and I had been trying to get her to do something about her life, because we thought that becoming a freeloader was nothing to be proud of, and the least she could do was at least try to pay rent to us or contribute in other ways, and apparently, that was a huge part of what had influenced her decision to leave, as she had mentioned in the letter that she had left behind for us. After she had met her biological parents for the first time, she refused to tell us anything about them so that she would be able to respect their request to keep everything confidential and private, and we did not try to pry further. She started meeting them more frequently, and after 2 months, she left home abruptly in the middle of the night, and the only thing that she left behind was that letter that I mentioned earlier, in which she had said that she had spoken to her parents about her situation right now and they had encouraged her to come to stay with them, and she had accepted. Apparently, she had been telling them about how difficult it has been becoming for her to continue living with us because we would constantly pester her, telling her to get a job or start applying to colleges or just do something or the other. And it was overwhelming for her because she felt like she was already doing enough. And it also made her feel guilty to say no to us because we had raised her and stuff, but she also did not want to pay rent or anything else since she believed that it would be a waste of her hard-earned money, since we were still working, and it wasn't as if we were incapable of being able to afford the kind of lifestyle that we wanted and had to rely on her for rent. In the letter, she had written that she knew that we wanted this for the best because we thought that pushing her to go to college or to start becoming financially responsible was a good thing for her, but we were making the same mistake that we had made during the time that she was getting bullied in high school by interfering, since it was only making her annoyed at us and making matters worse. So now, she had decided that she needed some time away from us, and because her parents had offered to let her stay with them, she was going to take them up on that offer and didn't want us to contact her for a while until she felt ready to reach out to us again. It was a bit shocking because we knew that she hadn't exactly liked the fact that we were trying to get her to do something instead of just being a freeloader, because we thought that at her age, not even trying to improve her situation and relying on her parents for support was not a good look, especially when she had told us that it was going to be her plan to be a receptionist and earn some money for a couple of months after graduation so she would be able to build some capital for the future, and then she would either start working towards a promotion or would start applying to colleges, and yet, neither of those things had happened. We thought that we were pushing her towards doing something good for herself because we didn't want her to become stagnant, and we believed that she should have either completed her education or started taking her work more seriously. If we had known that, it would have become such a big deal, we wouldn't have done that, but anyway, after she left, we tried really hard to contact her, but she never responded. We tried calling her, messaging her and even emailing her, but we have been blocked from everywhere. We were very upset about it for the first couple of months, but as time went on, we started becoming resentful. My wife and I realized that everything that we had done so far, it had only been with the best intentions at heart. When we tried to stand up for her by speaking to the school authorities about her getting bullied, we only wanted to make things better for her, and we genuinely believed that it was going to work. Besides, her approach of just letting things go on the way it was had clearly not been working. Even recently, we were only pushing her to do better for herself because we knew that she was capable of it, and she was wasting her potential by just sticking to the receptionist job and not even trying to do better. It wasn't even as though she was in dire need of money, we were always here for her, but she had become quite financially irresponsible after she had started earning, since all she would do was come back from work and then go out with her friends. Thankfully, she had still been able to save, but she wouldn't have any idea on how to properly handle her finances until she started living realistically, like paying rent, utilities, and other expenses. That was literally all that we had been trying to reach her, and she had started acting as if we were the most selfish parents on earth to try to do that, so much so that she felt the need to run away from us and stay with her biological parents. In the past couple of months, we had been thinking about her behavior, and my wife and I had realized just how selfish she had been. So by the time that she returned, we were quite happy with her already, and then, she dropped a bomb on us by telling me that she was pregnant when she finally showed up. This happened last weekend, and when my wife opened the door, Jackie had been standing outside with her bags, and it was obvious that she had been crying. When I went to the door, she told us that she had come back for good and she was never going to leave our side again because she had realized that we wanted the best for her and we were the only parents that she would ever need. We were kind of shocked and had nothing to say, so she went on to tell us that she had been living with her biological parents for the past 5 months and everything had been going great initially, but then she got pregnant. She found out about it herself last month and she refused to tell us anything more about the pregnancy, but she told us that she was scared of telling her parents, so she had it for a couple of weeks and then told them last week itself. They had a huge fight because she had been hiding the pregnancy and also because they did not approve of the fact that she had gotten pregnant without being married first, and to make matters worse, she didn't even intend on getting married and still wanted to keep the baby. So they had made it very clear to her that they were not going to support her and that she needed to leave, which is why she had packed up her things and come back here, because she knew that no matter what, we would definitely accept her because we were her actual parents. She started hugging my wife and crying and told us that she had made a huge mistake by leaving us, but now, she was never going to do that again, and she had learned her lesson. However, I was not buying it, so I decided to bring out the letter that she had left for us from my office, handed it over to her, and I told her that she should read it again and think about the things that she had said. In her letter, she had said that she bought some space away from us and now, we want to be able to give her that space, so she needs to go back and figure out her own life. Then, I slammed the door shut and we didn't hear from her after that until this morning, when my wife received a message from Jackie. She had unblocked us everywhere and told us that she could understand that we were angry, but we also needed to realize that she was in a very different space of mind when she left and just got carried away because of the novelty of the situation, since her biological parents were being very nice to her, and she was tired of us nagging her constantly. However, now she has realized that we always had her best interest at heart, and as her parents, it's our day to give her a second chance to prove that she's not entirely selfish like we think her to be. My wife wants us to give her a second chance, but I don't know, I don't feel like it's the right thing to do right now. Ida, for not wanting to let my pregnant adoptive daughter move back in with us after she left to stay with her biological parents for a couple of months. Update 1. Hey, thank you to everybody who commented on our original post. I spoke to my wife about what I was thinking, and I told her that I still did not trust Jackie fully. Besides, we knew for a fact that she had been working, she had money, so she could easily just look for a place of her own. If she needed help with money after the baby was born, we would definitely be willing to help her with that, since we're not that heartless. But right now, she needs to prove to us that she's not coming back just because she has been kicked out by her biological parents. Plus, we also need to know who the father of the baby is and what the deal is with him. There is so much that we have no idea about, and she hasn't even bothered to tell us about any of that yet, so until we find out about everything that has happened, I don't think we can make any commitments. I don't even think we should do that, and after speaking to my wife about this, she considered it and she agreed with me. It would be really stupid of us to just take her back in simply because she had been kicked out by her biological parents, whom she had abandoned us. I know that a lot of people think that we have been terrible parents in the past, by interfering in matters regarding her school and bullying and stuff, especially when she had told us not to. And then again, people thought that we were being horrible to her, pressuring her to start applying to colleges or do something else because we did not want to support her only because she was earning. But I think our parents, we did whatever was necessary to keep her on the right track, and we are not going to feel apologetic for it. Even now, if anybody thinks that we are doing the wrong thing by not forgiving her instantly, and taking her back in, it doesn't matter to us. We are her parents, yes, but we are also human beings and we also have feelings that are hurt. So she needs to prove to us that she's back because she truly cares for us and feels bad about what she did by abandoning us and refusing to speak to us over the past couple of months, and only then will we consider helping her out. My wife and I think it's the right way to deal with the situation at the moment, and so, we even responded to her saying the same things. First and foremost, we want her to try and figure out life on her own, get an apartment, and learn to lead a normal life, and after that, if she needs help from us, we will be more than happy to offer it. And then, she also needs to tell us more about how she got pregnant, and who the father of the baby is, and stuff like that. If she's ready to start living by those terms and doing the right thing, instead of constantly relying on us for support, then we can talk. Update 2. It has been 3 days since we sent that message to Jackie and she responded to us last evening, saying that she was ready to rent out an apartment because she and her boyfriend were planning on doing that anyway if we refused to let her back in. Yeah, she is dating this guy, who happens to be the son of her biological parents' family friends. They met a couple of times after she moved in with them and they took an instant liking to each other, so they started going out and she accidentally ended up pregnant and she wanted to keep the baby. And he also decided that he wanted to be involved in the baby's life, but they have only known each other for a couple of months, so they know that it's not the right time to get married and they're only getting to know each other better so they can eventually think about getting married. That did not sit right with her biological parents because they're kind of traditional and they wanted her to get married before she gave birth, but she refused. They fought over it for a really long time and they even ended up cutting off their family friends over this since they were supporting their son and Jackie's decision not to get married. Eventually, she decided to stand her ground and that's when her biological parents told her that she could no longer live with them. She lived with her boyfriend and his family for a couple of days and then, she realized how long she had been about her decision so she decided to reach out to us so she could make things right with us. Jackie also mentioned that she only wanted to move back in with us because she wanted to reconnect with her real parents and let us know that she actually loved us and that she had made a huge mistake. But nevertheless, she accepted our decision and told us that she completely understood why we did not trust her yet. She also told us that she was fully willing to do whatever it took to prove to us that she had truly realized her mistake and was not just coming back because her biological parents had kicked her out. Obviously, that had played a part in making her realize her mistake and acted as a catalyst, but there was more to it than just that and she wanted us to know that she was truly and really sorry. So now, she and her boyfriend are going to start looking for an apartment separately and are going to move in there together. She has even offered to bring him over to meet us whenever we want to. The only thing that she wants is for us to give her a second chance. My wife and I have discussed it and while we really appreciate whatever she has said, we are going to take a while to make up our minds on what we want to do. Update 3. So my wife and I decided to reach back out to Jackie and tell her that we were glad that she was trying to make things work on her own instead of relying on us for help. And we told her that we still needed some time to come to terms with everything. That was 2 days back and today, she told us that she was completely fine with it. She just wanted us to know that she would be waiting for us to come around and accept her, just like we had the first time when we initially adopted her. In the message that she sent to us, she also said a lot of other things, mostly just apologizing for everything that she had put us through. She said that she was really sorry for hurting our feelings and that she hadn't been considering the fact that maybe the only thing that we wanted for her was the best and that we wanted to push to do the right things in life. She told us that while staying with her biological parents, everything had been very easy but most of the time, she felt like there was a lack of a certain comfort that she had always felt with us. No matter how much we nagged her and got on her nerves, she was always sure of the fact that we actually wanted her there and we loved her no matter what. But with her biological parents, she did not feel the same way. She felt like a guest in their house. She told us that she had screwed up and she knew it, but was going to do everything in her power to fix the situation, starting with living according to what we had wanted for her. We had wanted for her to move out, explore the world on her own, and learn the ropes of living life on her own so she wouldn't need us forever. And now, she was going to do the same thing, probably not exactly the way that we had thought because she was going to be pregnant all the way and was still probably going to need some help from us, but this was at least a start and it was a good thing. So we are hoping for the best for her and maybe soon enough, we will feel comfortable enough to try reconnecting with her again. It feels good to know that she's really apologetic and we are willing to give her a chance, especially considering the fact that we are going to have a grandkid on the way and if the three of us have a shot at making our family work, we want to take that chance. Update 4. Hello, guys. Jackie gave birth to a healthy baby boy recently and we are the happiest grandparents on the planet right now. It has been several months since our last update and we got busy with everything. Yes, we were able to patch things up with Jackie because, after a couple of weeks, we decided to reach out to her and get her to introduce us to her boyfriend. We decided to reconnect over dinner a couple of weeks after my last post here and she and her boyfriend were an absolute joy to be around. It was very obvious from the looks of it that they were really in love with each other and while her boyfriend was around, we tried not to talk about the problems that we had been having. However, after dinner, her boyfriend left to go sit in the car and we were talking at the door and she thanked us for giving them a chance after everything that she had done. She started crying once again and told us that she had been really wrong about everything and that she was really grateful that she had parents like us, who were always looking out for her, even when she didn't even know what was good for herself. Right from when we had taken matters into our own hands when she was in school to trying to push her into doing better for herself now, We had always tried our best to be good parents, and yet, she had failed us as a daughter. But now that she was going to be a mother herself, she wanted to change, and she was glad that we had given her the opportunity to prove that she had changed. I still remember that conversation word for word because it was just so heartwarming. After that, we started meeting more frequently and we were all there for each of her visits to the hospital and checkups. Then, about 2 weeks ago, she finally gave birth and we have all been overjoyed since then. She doesn't know it yet, but her boyfriend has also asked us for our blessing to ask for her hand in marriage and he's going to propose to her in a couple of weeks. Our families already get along well enough, so we can't wait for them to get married. And we are pretty sure that she can't wait either because becoming parents has only strengthened their bond, and it's really beautiful. Things are looking up for us as a family and we are loving our time as grandparents now. I don't care what most people say, we are glad that we decided to give Jackie a second chance because she really has changed and we are as proud of her as we can be.